Hi, this is Chris Howard, host of Plugged In with Chris Howard. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for all your sports betting action. BetOnline has more ways to stay in on the action with the latest odds, news, scores, even live in-game betting while the games are being played. With the largest selection of odds on everything from Major League Baseball, NHL, and UFC, and professional golf, BetOnline remains the number one source for all your sports wagering info. In between games, head over to the BetOnline's casino with all the top Vegas-style games, including poker and live casino. BetOnline, the game starts here.
They aren't glamorous or overly expensive or hard to find. They don't rely on branded collabs, influencers, or limited edition drops. On their surface, they may seem simple or even boring, and they have been so ingrained in our culture for such a long time, you may not always even notice them. But their history is rich. Going back over 170 years, they have evolved from durable clothing for laborers and cowboys to understated staples for some of history's most beloved personalities. They are an American success story that comes to us by way of Germany, Russia, New York, San Francisco, Nevada, and even a galaxy far, far away. And whether you like them new or vintage, shredded or stoned, baggy, slim, skinny, or boot, there is a perfect pair for everybody. And that's why this week's On Brand is on Levi's.
We're all jazzed up, nearly having a cow. You want your favorite show, and it's on right now. It's on Brand.
Welcome to On Brand with Jon and Marisa.
Hey, I'm Jon.
Hey, I'm Marisa.
Okay, so you're learning the brand. I'm slowly, over a year and a half, putting together the perfect outfit. I have Converse, I have Doc Martens, I have Levi's, Gap.
Crocs, you have.
No. Wait, was Crocs mine? I don't remember.
Yeah, Crocs was yours.
I think it was. I remember learning about that damn foam.
That we just still need to find a damn foam.
We got to get a foam. All right, so Levi's. This is a brand for both of us. I know that I've been wearing Levi's pretty much exclusively now for like 3 years. I know you wear counterfeit ones that you got from Amazon.
My Levi's are a little sus. I did add a pair to my Levi's collection from Target. So Target has the Levi's wedgie, which is the one I get. You and me are a bit of pancake asses, so we need all the help we can get.
I do.
So the wedgie Levi's, it intentionally rides up your keister just a little bit to give you the lift and separation that we need.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, you should try a wedgie.
I didn't even talk about this in my research. I kind of came into Levi's because at some point they started adding a lot of stretch in their denim, which some people are very...
You call them pajamas.
No. And I've always kind of struggled with, like, because of my flat ass, I have to wear a weird belt that doesn't actually have holes in it. It's just like elastic, and I just pull it as tight as I can, and I can stick the little tong through any point of the belt.
An elastic belt?
It's
Are you wearing one now?
Yeah.
Stand up.
We're not live. This isn't Regis and Kelly.
Not yet.
Two
Regis
dead people.
is coming back. We're guests.
So I found this one pair that I like. They're 5'10s. I'm a 5'10 boy. And because they're a skinny jean, but they're not too skinny. They're not like old guy wearing skinny jeans.
Okay.
And I really, really...
You're not Lenny Kravitzing out on anyone?
No, definitely not LKN on anybody.
But you could.
I could. And I really fell in love with them. And I just randomly looked them up one day on Amazon. And for some reason, they had them on sale for like $18 or $20.
Wow.
So I bought 5 pair. Wow. I've been wearing these same gray 5'10 Levi's for 3 years. I've now become like a Steve Jobs or someone that has like, it's just what I wear.
You do remind me a lot of Steve Jobs.
Ironically, Steve Jobs, his uniform is a turtleneck and a pair of Levi's.
Wow, I didn't know they were Levi's.
I know. You're going to be shocked. That's why in the thing, I was like, they're not so splashy that you're like, holy crap, they're wearing Levi's. They just kind of are. And so I think you'll be surprised by some of the people that are wearing them.
Did you ever go through a splashy jeans phase, like whiskering or like a rhinestone back pocket? Did you ever get swept up in that?
Absolutely not. No, of course not. A bejeweled pocket?
A bejeweled pocket. In like 2006, you could not find a pocket that was not bejeweled.
You're talking to the guy who for decades has thought, I'm going to one day spend a Sunday putting all my patches on one pair of jeans and wear my patch pair of jeans on special occasions.
Yeah.
And am yet to do it.
Where the hell are these patches?
Where the hell?
Where's the Olivia Rodrigo Stanley? Where's the Trader Joe's tote? Where are the patches? Babe, where?
These are the questions everyone wants to know. They're not in storage. Well, actually, some of them probably are.
Jesus.
But, all right, well, we'll get to Levi's.
So, John, you're giggling. There's some secret you have. We did a little aside saying, like, what are we going to talk about in this episode at the top? John, he's giggling silently. He's clamming up. He's sweating. He's beet red. That means we have something really, really, really good today. Because he started by saying, I don't really have much to say. And I said, oh, really? You didn't drive across town for anything? You didn't, like, return anything? He's currently sobbing. John, tell me, what did you do? What have you done?
Listen, I wasn't planning on talking about this, and I was like, well, maybe I'll talk about it, but I'm going to beat her to the punch. I was going to write a whole monologue about it and just start talking about it, and then I was going to ask the questions I know you're going to ask.
What'd you do? Where'd you go?
Wendy's.
What happened at Wendy's, John? What happened at Wendy's? Please. What happened at Wendy's?
Wendy's came out with a really
Tears are streaming down John's face.
Wendy's came out with a very cute kids meal toy. Go ahead, deep sigh, Alistair laugh, be grateful you're not me.
Okay, what toy?
Okay, it's very reminiscent of like a fun like 80s toy from McDonald's. Like, you remember the like chicken McNugget toys?
Yeah, I currently own them.
I mean, how cute are those? So these are like a tiny little Frosty.
Uh-huh.
And one of them, they're all Halloween themed. There's one that is a little vampire and has like a little fangs and a little like, it's a little cross or something, very vampire-y, very cute. And so I wanted it. So I got it.
How did you get it?
I bought it.
Where'd you go?
I went to the Wendy's in Hollywood.
You went to the Wendy's in Hollywood and they just had it?
Well, no, they like you could buy them. Well, you couldn't buy them separate. They had like a thing. Okay, I had to buy 5 because you had to like. They said
Wait, no.
They said they could charge me.
Wait, no. Wait, no. No. John, no. No.
They said they could charge me for their special of 5 cookies for $5 and then give me 5 toys. And I was like, that's a good deal because the toys were like $2.29 individually.
Okay.
So I was like, sure.
Wait, why can't you just buy them individually then if they're $2.29?
Because then they're going to be like $10.
Okay, so they were cutting you a deal?
More than half price.
Okay.
So that's what I did. I bought 5, and they weren't supposed to give me the cookies, but they did, which was a nice surprise. Though someone will get mad at me because someone commented they think I waste food. I have not eaten the cookies, but I got them.
Okay, you got them. You didn't have to do any funny business or like call around or anything.
Well,
no like schemes or like.
The thing about them, which is kind of interesting, is for every one of them, there's a chaser. There's a variant. So like the vampire, most of them, 95% of them are red.
Okay.
10% of them are purple.
Okay.
So those are harder to find.
What color did you get?
I got the normal one.
Okay.
So I wanted the variant.
What do you mean?
So there's 11 of these now.
Yeah, but how many did you get? You just got 5, so you didn't get any of the variant.
Well, one of mine had a variant in it. I got lucky. One of the 5 had a variant.
So you only have 5.
Well, after I looked at the variant, or after I got the variant, I looked at the package and I realized I figured out the secret.
Okay.
So the little item number on the back of the bag, if it was a variant, had an A. After the item number.
Okay.
So then I was like, I can now figure out what the variants are before I open them.
But how are you like getting to them before you're given them? Like how are you getting them?
That is the question. But here's what happened. I'll just put it all on the table.
Thank you.
So I won them all. There's 11. I won all of them. One of them doesn't have a variant. If someone's like, wait, there should be 12. No, there's 11. Okay. So I went to Wendy's to get breakfast on Friday.
Okay. Already normal.
They have breakfast. It's delicious.
Yeah.
Biscuit.
Big tub of chili. Big potato.
No, they have sausage. They have normal breakfast sandwiches.
Yeah.
And so the guy, every time I'm there, is really nice. And I was like...
Same guy every time? How often are you going?
Oh.
Hey, John, your usual?
I'd probably get a Wendy's breakfast twice a month.
Okay.
So I told him.
Have you opened the message from the nutritionist in the portal yet? Just wondering. As an aside. Unrelated to this story.
I haven't.
Okay.
I do have a story about that too, but that's for another time. So anyway, I asked the guy, I was like, hey, I have figured out the code to get the variants. Can I just look at the toys?
Like dig around in their box?
Dig around in the box.
You asked the man working at Wendy's if you could dig around in the box?
It's so much worse than that. So I asked if I could dig around in the box. First, he's like, yeah. He's like, I got him. I collect them too. He already had them all. He's like, I get it. So he got me some from the ones that they're handing out. There's like 20. And I went through them, didn't find any. Then he pulled the open box out that they supply those.
Where are you doing this?
That's when it became an issue.
Are you like in the restaurant, in the dining room?
I'm like at the restaurant at the counter where they give people food.
Okay. Hunched over a box of Happy Meal toys.
Yeah.
Okay. Continue.
Thank you for not judging me. So I went through. So then he brings out an open box, and I go through those, and I find one.
Great.
And I was like, that's awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I was like, will you be getting more in? And he's like, oh, we actually have an unopened box in the back. And I was like, oh, man, I hate to ask, but like, could I take a peek in that box? He's like, oh, I have to talk.
Do you hate to ask?
I do.
You do?
I do.
You do.
I mean, I'd rather them just offer it.
Sure.
So then he like gets the manager's approval, and then they bring that box out, and then I started digging through, and I didn't realize how many toys are in an unopened box. There's like,
how big is this box?
It's
like
big.
Wow.
It's like it's a big box, and they're like air compressed in there. So as I start pulling them out, you can no longer close the box because there's so many spilling out.
It's expanding, yeah.
And as I'm going through them, I can't put them back in the box, so I'm putting them on the counter.
Oh my God.
It was a mess. Like I had a huge pile. I had the box. The manager was finally like, he's like, hey, the manager's saying that we got to wrap this up. And I'm like, oh man, I hear you, but like we're here already. Let's just finish this out.
Sure.
But I knew how insane it looked because they only have about 4 feet to like hand out food.
Are there other like diners? Like what's the scene there?
It got busy. That was the problem. So there was a line of people. They're trying to hand food over my pile of toys. I found none. They made me leave, and it's over for now.
Is that as sad as it gets?
It is.
Okay.
For now.
For now.
What
do you have in mind?
Let's just say I don't feel like this story is complete.
Okay. So tune in next week for another episode of the Wendy's special edition Halloween Happy Meal toy.
They're cute.
saga.
I'll bring one in. They're super cute.
I'm sure they are.
So that's my story.
Oh, I thought you said you were getting like better about collecting.
These really, really like swept me up. It was because of TikTok. Someone had them on TikTok and they're like, look how cute these are. And I'm like, those are cute. Then I was like writing the guy on TikTok. But I'm not the only one. That's what makes me feel good about it. I get it, Marisa.
Yeah.
You have found love. You have children. You have a family. You have a home. You have things to fill your day. I have the pod and collecting.
Yeah.
So
these are your babies.
These are my babies.
The new NBA and MLB season is in full swing, and BetOnline has you covered with the best odds and biggest promotions and live in-game betting on all your favorite teams. Head to BetOnline today to stay updated on all the action. BetOnline, the game starts here.
Are you looking for a new job or want a career change? Look no further than Monster.com. Need a little help standing out? Our expert resume writing services will make sure you shine. Want to brush up on your interview skills? Engage with our AI interview prep tool. Want some advice on negotiating your new salary? Visit our salary tools and extensive library of career advice articles, and you'll have all the tips and tricks you'll need to succeed. Visit Monster.com today and take the first step towards your career. Monster.com. Find your right job fit.
If you're looking to streamline your audio advertising buys and maximize your revenue, look no further than Triton Digital's programmatic audio advertising exchange, A2X. The private exchange consists of only licensed broadcasters and top-tier internet radio publishers, assuring the quality inventory and brand safety you can trust. Visit www.tritondigital.com to learn more.
All right, so Levi Strauss, shall we start?
Let's get into it. I'm already sweating and very excited.
I am too. I didn't expect to be so hot right now. Okay, so as I was starting to learn about Levi Strauss, I did realize there are a lot of parallels to it, to like Doc Martens. It's something that's been around for a very long time. This has been around a lot longer than Doc Martens, but in a similar sense, they started kind of as like a uniform or for like laborers or like workers, and have now transcended over time to become part of like the fashion.
Embraced by skinheads.
Okay, all right. That's all you took
a
from...
community that you're very sympathetic towards.
Okay. There's different kinds of skinheads. We learned that.
Yes, we did learn that. You said not all skinheads are mean.
They aren't. They
Some
started...
are nice. I didn't know that.
I know, but I feel like you're trying to throw me under the bus right now.
No, I'm saying that skinhead community, which you're saying, not all of them are bad.
I already gave you Wendy's. Let's be positive. Early skinheads weren't what they ended up being.
That
How
was
are we on
news to me.
skinheads? Levi Strauss. So, he's born February 26, 1829. He's born, and I'm very confused by the way they phrase this. Maybe, I think it's just saying in Germany, but it says he was born to a Jewish family in Buttenheim in the Franconia region of the Kingdom of Bavaria in the German Confederation. I don't know what that means.
No clue. No clue.
But he was not in America. His parents are Hirsch and Rebecca Strauss. His father dies of tuberculosis.
Tuberculosis.
It's what happened back
Moulin
then.
Rouge, coughing blood into a hanky.
Just a little hanky.
So tragic.
You just want to like finish your number.
We better not be potting someday and you go into a little white hanky and I see blood.
God, that little splatter of Nicole Kidman's blood was so telling. You're like, that doesn't seem like, if you think about it, that's not a lot of blood, but that's a bad sign.
Has anybody ever coughed in a movie and not died? Because like in real life, like people like will cough or sneeze and it doesn't mean anything. But in a movie, if there's so much as one cough, it means they're going to die in 20 minutes.
Have you ever, don't you think when people have to like call off of work and they call in and say they're sick, 99% of the time they throw in a cough?
Hey, yeah, I just wanted to call to say I'm really not feeling well.
I think I should be better tomorrow, but they have to, right? Like
You have to.
No one has ever made that call and not coughed.
Hey, I just want to let you know I'm feeling like pretty much dog shit right now. So I'm going to just lay low, get some rest, and I should be like all better tomorrow.
Okay, well, that's psychotic. I mean, you could still sound sick without coughing. But I do think, and I bet most people listening will agree, that everyone throws in that fake cough.
Sure, I love a fake cough.
So at 18, Levi and his mother and his two sisters travel to the United States, and they join their brothers who are already there, Jonas and Louis, who are in Manhattan, and they've already opened up a dry goods store in New York City, and it's called the J. Strauss Brother and Company. And Levi works for his brother's store, and he learns how the business works, and he's selling things like kettles and blankets and sewing supplies. And then the gold rush starts on the West Coast in 1848. We all have heard. I don't think we've ever talked about the gold rush on the show.
We've never touched on the gold rush?
We've never touched on the gold rush.
Wow, I love the gold rush.
What do you love about it?
Well, growing up in California, you learn a lot of gold rush history.
Oh, really?
Yes, it's like 90% of the curriculum.
Wow. That is explaining a lot.
It does, yeah. I don't know, where Ohio was on a map, but I know about California and I know about the gold rush.
You're just wearing big gold earrings,
That's
a big gold
right.
necklace, just doused in gold. I don't know much about it. I mean, I think I kind of picture what most people probably think when they hear the gold rush, like a guy in a creek with a pan shaking some sand trying to get a nugget. And then he chews on it and he's like, got a nugget. And then he goes to like a thing and they put it on a scale and he gets $2.
I mean, you just described basically like half my school year of 5th grade. That was it.
So the gold rush starts in 1848. Over 300,000 people make their way to California. San Francisco really becomes like the hub of that movement. And Levi sees this as an opportunity. So he heads to San Francisco to open a West Coast branch of his brother's store. In February of 1853, he's in San Francisco, and it's like a loud, bustling city, and it's full of people and full of energy. And Levi sets up his own dry goods shop, and he simply calls it Levi Strauss. And he's selling like clothing and underwear. He's not making them, but he's selling like umbrellas and handkerchiefs and bedding and combs and like bolts of fabric. He's making tents. He's kind of catering to what people in the rush need. There's people camping.
Yes.
So he's making like outdoor gear and all the stuff that they need and supplying them with those sorts of things.
That's very cool.
Yeah. In addition, he is selling supplies to other small stores that have also popped up doing this same sort of thing. That are supplying people in different parts of California, people in Nevada, people all over. So him and all these stores are kind of like supplying to the miners of the gold rush. So let's put a pin in Levi for a minute, if we could.
Sure.
And now I want to talk about Jacob William Davis. He was born on May 14th, 1893. He grows up in Russia, the Russian Empire. He's trained and works as a tailor. In 1854, at the age of 23, he comes to the United States. His life after he gets here, to me, reading it, seemed like utter chaos. So for like the next 10 years, he's all over the freaking place. He runs a tailor shop in New York City. He moves to Maine. He goes to San Francisco. He hears there's a gold rush in Canada, so he goes to Canada. He meets a woman there and marries her, has 6 children.
Wow. He must have good miles on his credit card.
I was going to say he must have potent sperm. So he's got all these kids. He's still like panning for gold in the Fraser River in Canada.
Oh my God.
That doesn't pan out. I wrote a joke. In 1860,
Do you think he made that joke when he was like calling back home to his family or like writing a letter like, this gold rush thing, it didn't really pan out.
He's
And they
sitting
were like, oh.
by candlelight with a big feather plume pen, and he's so excited to write it.
little
Unfortunately, my choice of career hasn't panned out. And then waits for 6 weeks.
I think he's chuckling as he walks to the mailbox. He's chuckling. He puts it in the slot and he's chuckling. And then he's just like waiting, chuckling. And then one day he gets a letter back and he's chuckling. And it's just like he opens it and it's like, ha ha. That's what I was going to say.
They just write, ha ha. And he's so content and he folds it up and puts it in a drawer. So then in 1867, he moves back to San Francisco with his wife, Annie, and their family. And then that same year moves to Nevada. I don't know why he's moving so much, but let's get this guy to Nevada because he's going to chill there for a little bit.
Thank God.
So he gets to Nevada and starts running a cigar shop. In 1868, he's in Reno, Nevada, and he invests money in a brewery. It doesn't work out. He loses a lot of his money. 1869, he goes back to his roots and opens a tailor shop on the main street of Reno. And
Great. Find like maybe the one thing you were good at of all these jobs. Like, is he good at anything? Like, he's like...
I mean, you got to say, like, no offense if any of the listeners' relatives were part of the gold rush. But, like, I do feel like people that are, like, the gold rush, I don't know what you would compare that to now. Probably an influencer. Like, you're trying to find, like, an easy way to
It's like a get-rich-quick kind of scheme. Yeah, for sure.
So the miners of the gold rush are the influencers.
I think we can openly show disdain for people who participated in the gold rush and judge them for their lack of work ethic. I think that's okay.
I am like so overly worried about offending anyone that listens to the show.
About offending somebody who was at the gold rush.
My great-grandfather participated in the gold rush.
And he was an utter fool.
Unsubscribe. They click the button. We see our numbers plummet. So he opens a tailor shop on the main street in Reno. And like Levi, he sees the need for supplies that people need. He's not by the gold rush, but people are still doing whatever people did in the mid-1800s. They're outside a lot.
Who knows what the hell they did.
So he's making tents, he's making horse blankets and wagon covers. And he's using this very strong fabric. He buys heavy-duty, light-colored cotton cloth duck and 9-ounce blue denim from a wholesaler in San Francisco named Levi Strauss. That's right.
Wow.
Now, I threw in a little industry talk because I didn't really know what all of his fabric stuff meant, but it said both fabrics were twill threads woven over and under 2 or more warp yarns. I don't.
No clue.
Someone listening is like, oh my God, I can't believe these guys are actually talking about warp yarns.
My passion.
My passion. And we're going to get a thing on Instagram. You guys, I just have to say, when you had me at warp yarns. Definition: a warp yarn is stretched over the loom and held under tension, while the weft yarn is threaded through the warp to create the woven fabric. This produces a diagonal pattern that makes the fabric very strong.
Cool.
All I'm hearing is like it's a way to make strong fabric.
Yeah, new, cool, strong fabric.
New, cool, strong
Great.
fabric. Beautiful. In 1870, he extends to making clothing for railroad workers and miners and farmers. And then one day, a woman comes into his shop.
Okay.
And she's like, Mr. Davis, you've got to help me.
Uh-oh.
My
husband is cheating on me. I need you to murder him.
Close.
Oh, okay.
My husband is very
Pantsless.
fat.
Oh.
And he's a woodworker, and he carries
Okay.
all his tools in his pockets like all the men do these days. And he is going through pants faster than I care to darn. Is that what darning was, just socks, or is that pants too?
Mending, maybe.
Mend.
Sure.
Faster than I care to mend.
God, I imagine a woman back in this era, your entire job was mending your husband's pants.
Oh, God.
Like sun up till sundown. It was just like mop, sweep, mend your fat husband's pants, and that's your day.
I mean, half of that Alistair would love.
Yeah. I think he
Mopping.
might like all of it, actually.
Actually, he might.
Did you know his dream is to be a janitor in an elementary school?
I did know that. And now everyone knows that.
Oh, here's another funny thing. Al went to the eye doctor yesterday. Al, tell everybody what the eye doctor said about you.
I don't have enough tears.
Yeah, so Al comes home, he comes back, and he's like, so my doctor told me I don't have enough tears. I don't know how they even measure that. Like, I didn't know if we had like a vase of tears behind our eyes, and they check the levels, or apparently he said there's like, our eyes are coated in tears, and they can tell that way. He's just got the slightest membrane of tears.
I don't want to offend anybody with how wet my eyes are. I'll keep them as dry as possible, sir.
That's why it takes a lot to make Al cry.
We need to work on that.
But when he does, man, is it satisfying. So this woman's like, listen, I need strong pants for my fat husband. And Davis agrees to make the pants. They agree on a price of $3, which
Very
she will.
reasonable.
Is it? You know how much that is?
A custom pair of pants?
$78. In 1880.
No, $78 today, you mean?
Yeah.
But to have a custom made pair of pants for $78, I think that would be a good price.
Yeah, I guess you're right. That is a good price.
I mean, you're paying that much for a pair of jeans that are just off the rack.
That's true.
Imagine if we got custom pants, like that could cradle your ass just so.
So he agrees to make the pants. She agrees to pay in advance. She leaves the store. She turns around, and this isn't canon, but this is just how I picture it,
Sure.
because she's kind of mad that she's paying a little more than she wanted to. And she's just like, they better be strong. And she leaves, and there's a little bell on the door. And he sits there for a minute, and he's like, oh, can I do this? He can. So Davis gets to work, and he uses that heavy, I don't know what duck cloth is either, but he uses that heavy-duty duck cloth.
I've heard of that. Yeah, it's like a thick kind of canvasy, kind of a waxed canvas maybe.
Yeah, I picture it for like sails, for like sailboats.
Yeah.
And he makes what he considers a very sturdy pair of pants. And when he's done, they're hanging up, and he's looking at them, and he's wondering, like, have I done enough? And he's thinking about the pants. And you know, like when you're in thought, you're kind of like staring, but you're not like thinking about the thing you're looking at, and you're like so lost in thought. And he's doing that sort of thing. He's staring at his work table. And then like his eyes come into focus, and he sees on his work table these tiny little copper rivets.
Ooh. Oh. Do we love a tiny little copper rivet? Oh.
So he looks at these rivets and his eyes kind of widen. And he's using these rivets for the horse blankets that he makes. He uses them to fasten the leather straps onto the blanket. And can I say how much I love a blanket with a leather harness? I don't know if you've ever seen...
What?
Have you ever seen those? They're kind of like old fashioned, very like J. Crew. It's like you use it as like a picnic blanket, but like you can then roll it up and it's got like a little harness so you can like fasten it up and carry it over your shoulder with your mate.
You're on a picnic with your boyfriend.
Or me.
Yeah.
Setting up all my little frosty toys. But I've always thought that those were very charming.
That's cute. Yeah. Do you have one?
No.
Okay. Well, Christmas is coming.
Yeah, it's on my list. And so he has this aha moment. So he uses the rivets to reinforce the pockets and the bottom of the button fly of the pants. The woman comes and picks them up. She takes them home. Her chubby hubby is like using them. He's sticking all his things in his pockets. And they hold up.
Wow.
Word spreads like butter on a Pop-Tart.
Fat husbands are lining up down the block to get their bellies measured for a brand new pair of pants.
Everybody's talking about Davis's fantastic pants. He is flooded with orders, and over the next 18 months, he makes and sells 200 pairs of these pants. He's making these pants in both the light-colored duck cloth and the denim, and customers are really liking the denim more simply because they look nicer for longer. The lighter
rhinestones on the back pocket.
We're a century away from bejeweling jeans. But you're like living in like the Dust Bowl or whatever the time was, and you're getting dirty all the time in these like light colored canvas. So denim, dark colored denim really finds its moment at this time. And the pants came to be known as waist overalls. Did you know that?
No.
Me neither. I found like old Levi ads for years. They're not called jeans. They're not called blue jeans. They're called waist overalls.
Waist overalls? Like, is there like overalls, but they fasten at the waist?
Right.
Okay. That's a terrible name.
It's a Hazinga.
Hazinga.
One of the few Hazingas in the Levi story. So he's making, like I said, like 200 of these, and there's so much buzz about these pants because what else do people have to talk about at this time other than, did you find a gold nugget today? Have you heard about this guy's pants? Those are the two things.
Days of Our Lives was not on yet.
Marlena isn't even in anyone's imagination yet. It starts to attract imitators, as things that are successful do. And some of them literally copy Davis's design using rivets. So that same year, Davis started sewing a double orange arch on the back pocket as a way to distinguish the pant from others.
Nice.
Is this sounding familiar?
Yes.
To me, that like Levi logo it looks like a bird that you would draw as a child, where you just kind of like make that like curvy V. Mm-hmm. That arc is now known as the Arcuate. Arcuate, and it is the oldest apparel trademark still in use today.
Wow.
So that was good. Like that was a little bit of protection for him, but he felt like he needed more protection. So he applies for a patent, but he's rejected. And the theory on this is his English is incredibly poor. And some people theorize that the patent office simply didn't know what he was asking for.
Wow.
So they denied the patent because it is something that he would have gotten a patent for.
Of course. And this to me, Levi's is such a quintessentially American brand that its founder, like not speaking English well, or this just doesn't fit with like my perception of what I would have expected.
I love that you picked up on that. Yeah. I know I said that in the cold open, but like the top of my notes for this whole episode is the most American brand ? Because it's like two people that have come from Russia and Germany that are basically the backbone of this American brand.
Isn't that the most American brand of all?
Exactly. But he still really wants his patent, even though he got denied for it, because he believes that these pants could be really big business. And he's been, like I said, a customer of Levi's for quite a long time. So he writes Levi Strauss a letter. And I found the letter, and it's much longer than I would have expected. But I like it because it's the actual letter, and you can kind of hear his English in it. So this is what he sent to Levi. I send you by express 2 pieces overall, as you will see, one blue and one made of the 10-ounce duck, which I have bought a great many pieces of you and have made it to the pants, such as the sample, the secret of them pants is the rivets that I put in those pockets. And I found the demand so large that I cannot make them fast enough. I charge for the duck $3 and the blue $2.50 a pair, PEAR. My nabors are getting jealous of these success, and unless I secure it by patent papers, it will soon become to be a general thing. Everybody will make them, and there will be no money in it. Therefore, gentlemen, I wish to make you a proposition that you should take out of the latter's patent in my name, as I am the inventor of it. The expense of it will be about $68, all complete. And for these $68, I will give you half the right to sell all such clothing riveted according to the patent.
Wow.
I mean, come on.
That's cool.
So this guy, like, comes up with the things that we still, like, literally, the pants I'm wearing right now still have the double stitch arch. They have the rivets in them.
All jeans are riveted now.
Yeah, the patent was actually only for, like, 17 years, I think. So
crazy.
People were able to do that by 1890.
But that if he hadn't, like, his gaze had not fallen upon a dusty old rivet on his desk, what would our pants be fastened with now?
Staples.
I
screws,
shudder to think.
Nails. Who knows? Who knows? You might have to, like, hire someone to just hold your pants.
Hold your pants up, yeah. If you're a fat husband, you're screwed.
Definitely. So Levi gets this letter, and he's already been kind of worried. Like, he's like not having a midlife crisis, but he's like, is this my life? Like, I'm a dry goods store salesman. Like, this is the best I could do.
Driest goods in town. Get your goods. Like, what is dry goods?
Extra good. Nothing wet here. Dry, dry, dry.
It's just, what a funny name for a store.
I know. So he gets this letter, and he's intrigued. And he's like, you know what? I will help you with this. May 20, 1873, the patent for improvement in fastening pocket openings was granted. And you know what I was thinking about? This is May 20th, 1873. We're only 3 years away from 1876 when Washington Atlee Burpee visited the fair, and he's trying to decide if he's going to be a doctor or watch chickens.
Yeah.
And he picked chicken. So this is all within like 3 years of each other.
Wow. And we have iceberg lettuce to this day.
To this day.
You're wearing Levi's jeans and eating iceberg lettuce, a wedge salad.
What a time to be alive.
What a time to be alive.
The minds of these men. So Levi invites Davis to San Francisco to oversee the first manufacturing facility for the waist overalls. They employ a bunch of seamstresses who work out of their homes. And by the 1880s, they had grown so much that Levi opened his own factory. Jacob would manage that factory for the rest of his life, overseeing production of the work pants as well as other lines of clothing like shirts and overalls as they were developed.
Wow.
In 1886, Levi began using the two-horse. Do you know the two-horse design? It's usually on the leather patch. It's kind of reminds me of when we were talking about the Isaac Newton design of Apple.
Yes.
It almost looks like it would be like a wood carving that was like pressed, but it's a really cool like logo. If you're not familiar with it, I'm sure it'll be in part of our Instagram supplemental stuff. But he starts using that branded leather patch to demonstrate the strength of the pants. 1890, a couple of big things happen for the history of Levi. The patent for rivets goes into the public domain, so other companies can now make pants with rivets freely. But by that time, the Levi brand was already on its way to becoming like the most famous brand in this category.
Thank God. I mean, how many companies have lost the race just because like they were the first but not the best, and then they just fall off, and even though they invented it, like they never see another dime.
Yeah.
I love that they were the first and that they're still like top dog.
Yeah, and I mean there might be like some skeletons in Levi's closet. I when I researched I was going to say like everyone has them, but like and I pull from a lot of different sources. I never really came across anything bad about the company.
Okay,
and
great.
We're going to come across some stuff that is even shows that they seem to be a good company. So I'm happy for them. One thing that we haven't talked about, the jeans up until this point had just been known as XX. That was the name of the style of jeans. But this year in 1890, the company started using lot numbers to differentiate its styles in the market, which is how they came up with the now iconic 501. The exact reason for it being 501 is not known, and we'll get to this in a second, because in 1906, one of the great earthquakes of San Francisco wiped out everything.
Wow.
The earthquake didn't destroy them, but the fires after it, nothing is left of its history from before 1906.
Oh, my God.
So a lot of these questions have to kind of be theorized. With all the success that the company was having, Levi became a very well-known figure in the city, and he became one of San Francisco's greatest philanthropists. He was very active in business and cultural life of San Francisco.
I didn't even ask. Was he hot?
Babe.
Oh, Al is looking at a picture of him. Al says no.
Wow. I know.
Me, yeah.
Wow. Oh, he's right. He's not.
Not that we care about that.
He looks
We're not
nice.
so shallow that we would only care about that he's hot. We care that he's rich.
No. Al and I don't care about that. You're absolutely loony about knowing whether these...
Well, there's a lot of ways to be hot. You know, it's not just like conventionally hot. You could be like hot in many different ways. I'll be the judge of that. Let me see.
Babe, you just mean one way.
Let me see. Oh, well, you know, I think the beard isn't helping. That's what I'll say. If he had like a queer eye for the straight guy makeover, I think he's a little diamond in the rough.
Maybe we need to come up with a scale. So let's say from now on, when you're determining if one of these century-old men are hot,
Yeah.
how many years would you be willing to be married to them to get their fortune?
Oh, boy.
In all senses of the word of marriage.
Okay, doing your wifely duties?
Yes, darning, mending, and making love. How many years would you be married to Levi Strauss?
Oh, God, what's the fortune at this point?
His fortune, when he passes away, dude, it's big. It's so big. It's $6 million. That doesn't sound big. I did the conversion on that. $6 million. Oh, by the way, he dies in 1902. We'll get there in a second.
My husband! No! I loved him. Me pounding on the coffin at the funeral very performatively.
Yeah. In your mind, thinking of all the things you're going to buy with his $219 million.
Wow.
How is $6 million worth that? That's what it's worth.
Unreal. What could you buy at that time, though? Like a horse? 2 horses? What were people buying?
I mean, I think like you could buy like huge estates and
Yeah.
cars were out by then, right? Coca-Cola.
Were cars out by then?
A lot of burpee seeds. The whole catalog. He's like, just send me the catalog.
Iceberg for days.
Iceberg for days. So bounce back just a second before he dies. He's on all these boards and charities and scholarships and supporting the Jewish community. And what I loved, it said no matter how rich and like popular he became, he always insisted that his employees call him Levi and not Mr. Strauss. As the 1800s were ending, Levi's still involved in the company, but he folds his 4 nephews into it. So we now have Jacob, Sigmund, Louis, and Abraham kind of running Levi Strauss. He never marries and has no children and passes away on September 26, 1902. Oh my God, that anniversary is going to be right around when this...
Oh my God, that's Peggy's birthday. Do you think he was gay? I mean, a
I-
jeans man.
He only wore skinny jeans.
Spending his day with all the fat husbands of the world.
Bears. He's like, is this
Bears.
for your bear? I mean, fat husband. He could have been a homo. Who knows?
He might
He
have.
looks a little homo. Am I going to get heat for that? I think he is gay. Levi Strauss is gay. We're announcing that here on Brand Exclusive.
And you said you didn't think he had any skeletons in his closet. He might have been like secretly blowing guys at the bathhouse.
I know. And there was a few reports that said a lot of the times when he would answer somebody, he would always say, "Yas, queen."
That's a good indication.
So there were signs.
There were signs.
There were signs. All right. So, as I mentioned, the San Francisco earthquake of 1906, that hits on April 18th. It's 7.9 magnitude earthquake. And like I also said, it's not the earthquake that destroys it, but the fires afterwards. It is the deadliest earthquake in U.S. history.
Oh my God.
They say possibly 3,000 people died from that earthquake. 225,000 people were displaced.
Oh my God.
And over 80% of the city was destroyed.
Wow.
We've had a couple small earthquakes here, and I think it kind of, I was talking to my dad about it yesterday, it kind of like reminds you that like we have no control over where we live, but like even those little ones kind of like get your heart rushing, and you're like, wow, we can like, I can't imagine. They were saying, I know we've talked about this a little bit, and I still don't know the math well enough, but like a 7.9 earthquake is like 10,000 times more than like the earthquakes we feel. Like
Sure.
the rate it increases is just so...
It's like exponential. Like we had like a 5 point something and it was like a little rumble. And I was like cowering under my table, shaking for hours.
Yeah, same.
Crazy.
So they have this earthquake, all the dry goods, furnishings, business records, they're all destroyed. It's a huge loss, but it's not the end of the company. Levi's nephews make a plan for a new facility and a new factory. They continue to pay employee salaries, and they even extended credit to other less fortunate merchants until they could get back on their feet. So like all those
Wow.
stores that they're supplying.
That's very nice.
I mean, they seem great. Jacob William Davis passes away on January 20th, 1908. In 2006, in Reno, Nevada, they put up a plaque to commemorate that this is where blue jeans were invented, which I thought was very nice.
That's fun.
All right, so now I'm just going to timeline it a little bit. That's kind of the story of getting the jeans launched, and we'll just hit some bullet points. By the 1920s, Levi's waist overalls were the top-selling men's work pants in the United States. 1929, the Great Depression hits, and instead of laying everybody off, they put employees on shorter weeks so they could keep them on. They weren't making as much, but they were still employees, and they gave them things to do that didn't involve sewing. Like they were paying people to install a new floor in like some of their spaces, and they found ways to keep people around and give them money. These are the things I was talking about when I was like, they seem like a good company.
They do.
You're going to love this. 1934, Levi's introduces the first blue jean for women.
Oh, that's cute.
Good for you. Like a nice apple bottom jean.
When I'm thinking of like Lucy wearing a blue jean if she's like working in the veggie garden, but it's not like really they weren't ubiquitous for women, certainly not at that point. You had to have been like doing some pretty disgusting manual labor around the house or getting pretty filthy.
Yeah.
Do you think women should be allowed to wear pants or just stick to like skirts and dresses?
I really liked Handmaid's Tale. I don't know if you watch that. Like, I like that look of just like a very thick, curtainy fabric, a red hooded. No, I want everyone to express themselves however they want.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Sundresses only.
Jon is on the record. He thinks women should be allowed to wear pants. In case there was any question about it.
Yeah. Alistair's going to love this. So the next little part I'm going to talk about. Last night when I wrote the show like a week ago. So last night I was kind of going through it to just refresh myself. This one part just said like 1936, Levi's creates the iconic red tab. That was it. But last night I was laying in bed. I was like, what does that red tab mean? So like I start searching the red tab. That is now an entire page of notes.
No.
So 1936, the red tab, we all know what I'm talking about. It's the little red tab on the back of the pockets, and it makes its debut. There were so many imitators with the riveted pockets at this point, they had to find another way for their product to stand out. So someone at Levi came up with the idea of putting a little red tab with white writing so that it stood out against the crowd. Originally, it was intended as a trademark to help identify authentic Levi jeans. They picked red because it stood out against the dark blue of the denim. When they were first made, it said Levi's with a capital E, and it said that from 1936 until 1971. In 1971, Levi's changed the E to a lowercase e. So now for collectors, you've got big E jeans and little e jeans. And it's something that the collectors can now use to differentiate the more desirable big E clothing to the mass-produced small E's. So obviously the importance of the tab changes in evolution. It really allows people to identify when something was made or give it a general idea of how vintage it is. I've read a couple things that counterfeiting is so intense with these pants that Levi has been known to hire undercover detectives all over the world that penetrate these companies that make Levi's.
Oh my God.
And one of them said that they literally cut off the red tags one by one. So they like go in there with scissors and just start cutting these tags off. I'll be honest, I think that came from a blog, and that feels kind of like a blog fact. So I'm not putting canon on that, but I do like the idea of like go to it men, and they've all got like one of those pairs of like maybe those, remember in the 80s those foldable scissors that like folded up really small, and they like open them up and like tink tink tink.
That's like kind of the level of danger I could tolerate in an undercover sting operation.
Definitely. All right, 1930s and 40s, Levi's influence. More people are coming because of what we talked about, the gold rush, and a lot of people from the East Coast and overseas are coming to the West Coast. And the whole like style of cowboy wear becomes a lot more popular. Levi's really embraces that. They get a cowboy for marketing their jeans. Hollywood follows suit with what Levi's doing. You see more Western movies being made. And there's this whole Western moment that they're a part of.
I love a Western moment.
We all do, babe. We all do. Clint Eastwood, are you kidding me? The
Are you
spaghetti
kidding?
westing me? Oh my God. We all do. World War II. Now, we talk about this a lot on the pod. What's going to happen in World War II? What are we not going to be able to use?
Well, let's see. Copper, the rivets.
Rivets.
We need that copper for helmets.
Babe, you are so off, but on. Sure. So World War II comes. There is a rationing on copper, so they're not allowed to have the rivets in their jeans. But there's also a rationing on thread. So they can't sew in their trademark arches. Their solution to this, they painted the double arc on the back pockets of the jeans.
Wow.
The jeans came with a card that said, this arch has been painted, and the paint would wash off easily. So they wanted it on there so you knew that you were buying a pair of Levi jeans, but it was not meant to last.
Oh my God. If you could find a pair of vintage Levi's with the painted arches on them.
I know, right?
Smithsonian.
What did you say?
Smithsonian.
Remember that.
Okay. Smithsonian.
1951. All right, we're closing in. This is a fun story. Bing Crosby. Do you know Bing Crosby?
Yeah, I've heard of Bing Crosby. It's the
Okay.
king of Christmas, baby.
Right? Daddy Bing is in Canada, and he's on a vacation. It's the height of his career, 1951, and he's in Vancouver, and he goes on a hunting trip and tries to check into the Hotel Vancouver, and he's denied entrance. Why? Because he's wearing Levi jeans and a jean jacket.
Wow.
At the time, this was considered too lowbrow to be a patron of this hotel.
Unbelievable.
A bellhop quickly recognizes that it's Bing Crosby and corrects the situation. Levi hears about this incident, and their designers jump on the opportunity to turn it into a marketing thing. They create a custom-made denim tuxedo for Bing. The tux is made out of the same denim that they use for their 501 jeans. It's a tuxedo-style jacket. They make a corsage out of red tabs and brass rivets. And in the interior, there's a leather patch that reads, "To hotel men everywhere, this label entitles the wearer to be duly received and registered with cordial hospitality at any time and under any conditions. Presented to Bing Crosby, June 30, 1951, signed the American Hotel Association."
Oh my gosh, that is really cute.
It's super cute.
Well,
There's-
and that's funny because he was in Canada, and that's the Canadian tuxedo.
That's
is a
my
denim
next
shirt
thing.
and jeans.
I had not heard of that term before,
Really?
but that is how that term came to be. Levi
Wow.
decided that if you're wearing jeans and a jean jacket, that is the Canadian tuxedo.
That is so cute.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I don't know why I've never
You've
heard
never
of that.
heard that.
I
Yeah.
haven't. We're already at 1969. All I have for 1969, Levi introduces their bell bottoms to a favorite of hippies. And I wrote, Mar definitely seemed like she would have been a hippie had she been
Yeah.
alive at that time.
I was a bell-bottom gal for sure.
1980-84, Levi's the official outfitter for the Olympics. It really solidifies them being that American brand that we've talked about in this show. Now I'm just going to go through some fun moments of it. 1987, George Michael's Faith music video. He's wearing Ray-Bans, which we did an episode on, and Levi blue jeans. Like I tapped on earlier, like it penetrates all these other subcultures, kind of like Doc Martens did. You've got greasers wearing them, and hippies, punk rockers, heavy metal guys. In the 1990s, Snoop Dogg wore 501 oversized jeans in his music video, Nothing But a G Thing. Monica and Rachel wear them on Friends. They wear the high-waisted 90s look. all the big supermodels of the 90s, Cindy Crawford, Naomi Campbell, Linda Evangelista, Christy Turlington, they wear them in their iconic 1990 British Vogue cover shoot. And then do you remember this? I don't remember this. In the 1990s, they had a campaign called the Button Your Fly campaign.
No.
Okay, I don't either. And so the backstory on this is, and I remember at the time, like I remember when I started buying jeans on my own, I was always surprised or disappointed when they were button fly.
If you have to pee.
If you have to pee, it's so many buttons. And when you're fat, and I'm always buying like jeans that are like a size smaller than I should. So like those buttons were tight. Like I wasn't like loose, like simple button up. It's like,
yeah.
And so I hated it. It was always sad when I found a pair of jeans I really liked and they weren't zipper. But in 1954, Levi introduced the 501Z, and it was basically a 501 jean that had a zipper instead of a button fly. I didn't know that that was such a moment. And it was like, of course, controversial. People are like, why is this happening? Why are you changing? Buttons are best. So in 1990, they did this whole campaign around the button fly. In the campaign, they created a toll-free phone number that you could call, and you're supposed to tell them what you do in your 501 button fly jeans. And if you were selected, you could star in a Spike Lee directed commercial.
Oh my God.
And they're advertising this on MTV and Beverly Hills 90210 and Arsenio Hall show, like all the cool shows of the time. The three only cool things of the day. And more than 800,000 calls came through.
Oh my God, that
and
is
you can
funny.
look up these commercials. They're really fun. Like they had a spelunker, they had like a rock star, like lighting technician, a cartoonist, and a dairy farmer, and they're all kind of like in their work environment wearing their jeans, and you're like, oh, it's an everyman thing. So
that's cool.
It was kind of fun. I didn't really remember it, but apparently
You didn't apply. So what were you doing in your jeans in 1990?
Babe, Al wants me to wrap this up. This show's too long for me to talk about what I was doing in my cape in 1990. And then, okay, can we just talk about a handful of iconic, and here's another thing. I need another word for iconic. I'm so tired of using the word iconic, but we have to use it sometimes.
Get a thesaurus.
These are some really iconic moments in the history of Levi jeans. 1953, James Dean is wearing 501s in the movie Rebel Without a Cause, making kids everywhere that want to butt up against their parents want to buy
talk
these
about
jeans.
hot.
I mean,
talk
about Dyson worthy.
That one, wow, you pulled that out of the vault.
The suction never stops. Okay, 1953 again. Marlon Brando wears 501s as the motorcycle gang member in The Wild One.
Oh my God.
Marilyn Monroe is wearing Levi jeans in Clash by Night and the movie The Misfits. Bruce Springsteen is wearing a pair of Levi jeans on the Born in the USA album cover. Morrissey, one of my favorites at the time, singer of The Smith, constantly wearing Levi jeans. I mentioned this earlier. Steve Jobs' famous uniform, black turtleneck, a pair of Levi 501 jeans. Beyonce rocked the stage in Levi jeans at Coachella in 2018. And now this year, I don't know if you've heard it, I've been listening to it for 2 weeks straight because of this episode, has a song that she does with Post Malone called Levi Jeans. It's so good. Taylor Swift featured on the cover of Rolling Stone magazine in 2014 wearing Gap jeans. No, Levi jeans. And then my favorite, I had no idea of this, and I hinted at this in the teaser. 1977. There are so many iconic photos of a young Jedi Knight wearing a beige outfit and tan pants. That is Luke Skywalker wearing Levi jeans. I was gobsmacked to find out that Levi's were in Star Wars.
That is really funny. I bet there's a lot of people who don't know that.
I know. That is definitely be in the supplemental material. So I just thought those were super fun. Levi Jeans now has brick and mortar stores. We've got a couple here in town. If you haven't been, they're small footprints, but they're kind of fun stores. They have like this whole thing, at least the one I went to in Century City, they have this whole thing that they call the Levi's Tailor Shop. So you can take jeans in to get repaired. You can have new stitching done.
That's
you
cool.
can have patchwork put on.
Okay.
I know. You can create one-of-a-kind pieces. You can get them monogrammed. You can, like, there's so many things to,
That's
like,
fun.
make your own jeans. And I thought that that was a lot of fun. They can add rips and holes and fraying to them. They'll just do whatever you want to them.
Wow.
So if you've got a Levi store near you, please visit them and tell them about the pod, I guess. We get nothing from it, so visit them if you want or not. And then we're almost done. I did have a few fun facts that I thought I'd throw out there. I love how we've done this show long enough that like so many episodes that we've done are intertwining with new episodes.
Yes.
In the Guinness Book of World Records, which I discuss in the Guinness episode of On Brand, there is a record holder for the most expensive vintage jeans. And they're a pair of Levi's.
Wow.
Can you guess who might have owned what is the Guinness record holder for the most expensive pair of jeans? I'll tell you, they sold for $412,000.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
Either of you have a guess? Al has no guess.
Steve Wozniak.
Al, are you crying? Oh, no, that's just something else. Who'd you say?
Steve Wozniak.
Kurt Cobain from Nirvana last year.
Wow.
Sold November 18, 2023 for $412,000. His unopened pack of cigarettes sold for $5,200, which
this is crazy.
seems reasonable, but that's also like he didn't even open them.
Yeah.
His guitar sold for $1.5 million.
This is ridiculous.
I told you a minute ago to put a pin in something. An early pair of Levi jeans is part of the permanent collection of the Smithsonian Institute. The small pocket, the fifth pocket, if you will, on a pair of Levi's.
That little tiny pocket. What is that for?
For me, it's for a tube of Burt's Bees.
A little canister of toothpicks.
A little canister of toothpicks. It was originally made to carry your watch in.
A watch?
Your watch.
Wow.
All right, guys. Well, that is Levi jeans.
Wow. Well, what a journey that is.
Right? There's a lot there. A lot of little things I didn't know about. Iconic American brand that comes from all parts of the world. So, would you say that Levi is on brand or off brand for you?
Levi's are very on brand for me. I associate them with hot people, and it is my goal in life to be as hot adjacent as possible. So
like
I consider myself to be the James Dean of the pod world. And I have, as I said, the cutoffs. I have the 501 cutoffs. I have the wedgies, and I think they're my gene. I think I'm a lifer on Levi's.
Yeah.
I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Nothing gets between me and my Levi's.
Whoa.
Little mashup with a Calvin Klein ad.
Oh, you stole that.
I stole it.
That was good, though. I liked it in the thing. I said there's a pair for every body. I don't know if that's been used before, but it hasn't. I trademark it.
I'm sure it has.
You'd be surprised. We thought on brand had been used for this type of pod, and it hadn't.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, okay. So, John, Levi's is on brand for me. Is Levi's on brand for you?
I mean, I think it's obvious. It's absolutely on brand for me. They seem like a great company. They were a brand that didn't even have jeans for the first 20 years of their existence. 150 years later, I'm literally wearing them right now. They're almost unchanged. I'm sure behind the scenes they've been changed in fabric technology and all those other things. But hell yeah, Levi's are on brand for me. Hell yeah.
John, what a fun episode. I love learning about Levi's, and I love learning anything from you. Your Emmy Award-winning research never lets me down.
Oh my gosh, why do you bring that up? Did you see one of the people that wrote a comment that I should get another Emmy for this podcast?
I think we're probably not far off from podcasts being nominated for Emmys.
I mean, that's just crazy. 2 Emmys? Oh my gosh.
How are you going to get an EGOT if you're doubling up on your E?
Oh God, I'm not going to lie. The thought of like hearing them say, this is John's second Emmy nomination and win.
That's pretty huge. I want to give some shout outs to brand freaks, brandies who left us lovely reviews on Apple Podcasts. We have just had a ball screen capping these nice reviews and texting them to each other. It just really makes our day, and it is so nice. Sure, we're not seeing a dime from this show, but you know what? We are rich in love. Wouldn't you say, John?
No, I mean, I went to Wendy's trying to collect 11 toys. I don't even have love.
So I want to say thank you to The Hump, who said, I was a bubblier and funnier Joan, while John is the put-upon Betty Draper. Long-suffering, but dry and clever. So John has a little bit of beef with that. We're going to breeze right past it.
I don't understand. Of all the people at Mad Men.
Ziggy Palfy LA left us a lovely review. Shake 6, so sweet, loves the deep dives. Twar Zone, the hosts are so great together, love the show. Rachel for you, instant follow after our appearance on Doughboys. We love when the Doughboys fans show up. Steve MD came from Doughboys as well, called us hilarious weirdos in the best possible way. Birdsong Q found us on Doughboys, wants us to have merch so they can collect them in their storage units. Scout3125 says chocolate Pop-Tarts for life, found us from Doughboys, and a new fan. So we just love hearing from you guys. If you haven't left us a review on Apple Podcasts, please do that. We learned recently it might be impossible for an Android user to do so. But if you have Apple Podcasts or iTunes, you can leave us a 5-star review and write some kind words for us to text to each other and brighten our day.
Well, thank you for all the shout outs and thank you for all the people that are writing. It's been so lovely. And I wanted to give a few shout outs to the people that got the Insta Egg right. So many more people are playing the game, which is super fun. If you don't know, every Wednesday on Instagram on our story, I post a little puzzle so you can try to guess what the brand's going to be for that week. If you get it right, you will be entered into the Wheel of Freaks and you may get a shout out. The 5 people getting a shout out this week are Andrew Urine. I don't know if that's a joke name. That's probably not. That's probably his real name. Andrew Urine. Beth C., Lexi, Karen McElfresh, and Janie Jones. You all won the lottery this week. Thank you so much for playing the game.
Oh, that's so fun. And as John mentioned, we have our Instagram at OnBrandThePod and TikTok at OnBrandThePodcast, where you can play John's Insta Egg game and see videos from the show, supplemental information from the episode. Maybe John will post a picture of his Happy Meal toys.
They're not Happy Meals. They're Wendy's Kids Meals. Happy Meals is McDonald's. You don't know anything about this world. And the funny thing was, I was going to post. I had this whole plan. I had a funny video I was going to make and post it on there so like as a funny reveal to you.
Yeah.
But now it's all ruined. You've ruined my influencing. I am trying so hard to be an influencer.
So you're a Gold Rush person.
Yes, I'm basically the current Gold Rusher because I got to get some money.
So check us out on Instagram and TikTok if you want to see more of me and John. And we will be back next week with an all-new episode.
And remember, we may go off topic, but we will always be on brand.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
On brand.